welcome to the 9th entry of this series. We're doing Manta today. One of my least favorite stages aesthetically. Not the background, the actual stage. Anyway, I'll just do it anyway. So, let's see background-wise. Something I probably should have noted in the Schellendorf Institute and Reef is that this may not be true, but the bridges and the tunnel that is the glass casing are technically separate objects. That's not obvious, but there you go, I guess, because I noticed there were files pertaining to these things. That's probably how they determine the ink, by separating those objects and seeing what's underneath. As well as what's on the bridge in Reef's case. So, there's not a whole lot in the stage. A lot of the stage is just, you know, one thing. I think these are separate. Oh, by the way, Manta Maria's internal name is called Pillar, because of the giant pillar in the middle. That should be obvious. Anyway, let's see if anything's blowing in the wind or anything, because that's typically a sign something will, you know, be separate. Because if it's moving, or if it's dynamic, it will be separate. The flags definitely will be. Maybe those things over there might be different. Definitely for sure the flags will be. I'm struggling to really see anything. I think that might be, because I think that was added in an update or something, because they were partnering with some company or something, and they had to point that out in an update, so they had to make that separate somehow. Other than that, I don't really see anything. Otherwise, just look for objects with pillar, and if the actual map is missing anything, then objects are likely to go in the spots where things are missing. There's flags there, those will be separate. The plants could be. Even if they're not moving, they could be. Bluefin Depot did the same thing, and those plants aren't even blowing in the wind, I think, so there had to be some reason for them to be there. So let's go back in and see if we can find anything else. There's not a whole lot to see in the stage. Is this tape dynamic? No, even so it could, but I'm not entirely sure about that. It could still be there in the thing. That could be separate. No, not really a whole lot to see. I may be misremembering something, but I do remember seeing the word pillar with, like, something to do with a slope. And there are a number of slopes here, but they would typically be integrated into the actual map. Such as, like, you know, these types of things. I imagine this would just be part of the model and it wouldn't be some kind of separate thing. Or this. Just a little strange. It could be possible that the parts of the boat could be separate, but I'm not sure on that, considering they are parts of the map and relevant to Manta Maria only. Let's continue looking here. There's a couple flags that spread out a fair way. Do you see that one in the distance that's like right there? It's like the farthest in the distance. The ones that it's not blowing. It's like super far in the distance and it's not blowing. I think those ones are static. So them being static probably means they're not separate or something. Maybe they're separate from the other flags that are blowing. Actually, there's a better example. They're right in front of here. They're not blowing either. See, these ones in front are blowing. Those far ones up there, they're not blowing either. Maybe they're just part of like one flag object? Why make a boat sound if the thing is supposed to be decommissioned? Oh wait, that's a localization thing. Is it though? Please someone tell me if a Japanese quote mentions the ship being decommissioned. No. Okay then. I'm not really sure. I'll go take a look and see if I can find any sort of names. Because this stage is giving me a blank. There's nothing in it that would hint at any objects or aside from the separated flags. Okay, so the only object that was codenamed Pillar in the files was something called LFT Pillar Patrol SFIP, I think it was. Yes, I said that correctly. It apparently is a low... It definitely looks like a boat. But it's not this boat. This would be part of the map. But I'm just wondering, it could possibly relate to the map in some way. I've been trying to find it, but I haven't had any luck so far. But let's see if we can try and find it. It's definitely not that, and it's definitely not all this, because this would be part of the FLD file. Because it is the map you walk on. I'm sure that other thing is definitely separate, but it's another file and isn't directly related to Pillar. I believe, like, New Apicore Hotel's balloons weren't named with Nakasu, despite being related to it. So, look for similar sorts of names to what you think it might be, like boat or something. It has to exist somewhere, is what I'm saying. But yeah, that's the only thing I really found in relation to Pillar, aside from, obviously, the actual map itself. But yeah, it's hard to do stuff with that sun around. Something I do want to point out, though, and this is just a general quirk I've noticed among Splatoon, because everything that has water is a lie. How do I explain that? Okay. In a minute, let's see if I can. So, do you see the water as I'm staring at it? Exactly where my reticle is? Where it's all kinds of wavy and stuff and kind of, you know, all realistic and such? Yeah. Cool and all. Great. Now look where my reticle is pointing. Do you see a difference between it and the water we were just looking at? I'll try and move myself out of the way so you can see a bit more. My reticle isn't pointing at it, but it's near the boat. And then far beyond that, it kind of looks like it trails off into nothing. That's an illusion. Beyond that is actually beyond that is actually nothing. That little connecty bit where that bit touches that bit, that's the skybox, and that's just the edge of the plane of the water. The water typically has two states. I'll go back in so then we can see it fully. But this water is like the actual water. And the far out water is usually referred to as _VA or something. This is common in a lot of stages where there is water. If it's not referred to with a _VA, it's something like, well, like so for Arowana Mall, for example, the model is like called Seascape _C or something like that. There's no VA for that because that technically already is the VA. But like, where there's water here and then there would be water out, that's actually two separate models. Salmon Run does this. In fact, Salmon Run's water is a moving object that's separate from the water that comes with the map. Which there is. Yeah, I thought I'd break the illusion for you. That doesn't actually extend on forever. There's like a join between there where I can very clearly see that's where the skybox is. That's where you begin the skybox. If you were to fly out there, you would probably see what I'm describing. Other than that, though, Manta Maria doesn't really have too many objects to speak of. I'm pretty sure the actual map will probably have this flags in it. There's, you know, that to... Oh! Wait a minute! Heyo! There it is! That's the boat I saw. Of course, because it's moving! Heyo! Well, now you know what the boat was there for. What patrol FIP was for. That's what it is. That moving thing in the background. That was what I found. That aside, my little fangasm away. But see, it's moving. That's why I was given the LFT prefix. I tried to find that on my own and I couldn't, but ayo, that's miracles happen. Anyway, there really isn't much else to be concerned about. Most of the flags will come with the thing, and if that object in the distance does come with Manta Maria and I've just been ignoring it this whole time, okay, that's cool, and, you know, then ignore everything I say about it being separate, because again, I'm doing this blind, not knowing what the models are like beforehand, except in the rare case where I did load the model and then had to find it in the game later. But this stage is pretty easy, just a one and done deal. So anyway, that's Manta Maria. There really isn't a whole lot to speak of on it. In fact, you could almost say the stage is pretty barren in terms of stuff on it. It's just a turf war level, which is rather surprising. Personally though, it is a rather weak stage aesthetically, since I did just mention the water thing and I can break the illusion so easily with it. But not just that, the boat just looks boring to me personally. Anyway, I will see you in the next one.